What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with Motorola Moto G Play 2026 tips and tricks and hidden features. So stay tuned if you want to learn how to get the most out of your device. So this is the Motorola Moto G Play 2026. Now, despite this phone being a very affordable option from Motorola, we're actually getting a lot of really cool features here with the device, and I'm looking forward to showing you my favorites here in this video. So let's get started. Now, the first thing I want to show you is how to get a battery percentage in the upper right corner with this phone. Now, by default, with the Moto G Play 2026, you can see there is actually a battery icon. However, it doesn't give us the actual percentage. Now, if I do pull down the shade, you can see the percentage right there. But what I want to do is show you how to get that percentage at all times. So all you have to do is pull down the shade here, go to the gear icon for the settings, then from there, go to search, and then type in %, and you'll see right there battery percentage. So go to that, and then enable it right there. And then now we have a battery percentage on the device, no matter where we are throughout the operating system. So definitely very convenient having that. Now, in addition to that, you can access a lot more useful information about your battery. So go back to the settings, go down to where it says battery, and then from there you can see several different things here. So you can see, for example, battery usage. So it'll keep track of when your phone's actually using the majority of its battery. So maybe that can give you some useful information if it seems like for some reason the phone's losing battery very quickly. But you can also go here to battery saver, and then with battery saver, it's going to cut out a lot of different background tasks. We're also getting dark mode enabled here on the device, and in general, it's giving you kind of a more bare minimum experience. We're also getting a lower refresh rate, so you'll kind of notice that the display here isn't as smooth when you're doing things like navigating around the operating system. But in exchange for that, you'll be getting much better and longer battery life with your phone. So I certainly wouldn't recommend using battery saver every day, but definitely if you're in those situations where you know that you won't be able to recharge the phone anytime soon, then battery saver can certainly be very helpful. Now the cool thing too is that it can turn off once the phone is at 90%. That's actually enabled by default. So if you just plug the phone back in, once the phone recharges, then you'll be good to go once it's back up to 90. You can also go to set a schedule, so you can have it be based on percentage. So if the phone reaches 20% battery, it will automatically shift into battery saver. So I think that's super convenient. You can also further adjust this. So if you want the phone to reach 50%, you can even go up to 75%, which I feel like is kind of a bit much for battery saver, but if that's something that you think will help you, then it is there for you. There's also overcharge protection, so that's not enabled by default, but essentially if you enable this, then charging will be limited to 80%. And then it says here to keep your battery healthy, charging will be limited to that 80% level. And then once a week, your battery will charge to 100% to keep it calibrated. So the reality is, just like every smartphone, this device will have a battery that does degrade as time goes on. So if you do want to extend the health of your battery into the long term, especially if you plan on keeping this phone for more than 1 or 2 years, then you might want to give this a try with overcharge protection. Now the next thing I want to show you is a quick and easy way to get to the camera app here on the device, and all you have to do is simply double press on the power button, and then it'll immediately pull up the camera. So you can see it took us right over to the camera app. So that's definitely a very convenient way to get to the camera very quickly here on the phone. And you can do this from anywhere throughout the operating system, so it's definitely really nice. Now another thing I want to show you is how to change the navigation on the phone. So by default, we are getting the traditional Android 3-button navigation, but I know that some people do prefer gesture-based navigation, and if you've never tried it before, then I do think you should consider it. So go to the settings, and then from there go to search, so type in nav, and then you'll see right here 3-button navigation. So if you go there, you can switch to gesture-based navigation instead, and you can see now we have just one line at the bottom of the phone instead of those 3 buttons. So if you swipe up, it'll take you home. If you swipe partially up, it'll take you to your recent apps. And if you swipe from the side, it'll take you back. Another thing we have on the phone too is circle to search. So if the phone's in gesture-based navigation, simply hold down on that bottom line. And then from there, if you want to circle something, it'll further search what you're circling here. It is telling me that it's a crocodile. And then when the phone's on 3-button navigation, you can do the same thing. You can circle the search by holding down on the home button. And then once you circle and then search, you can see it identified this as a woodchuck or groundhog. I thought it was a beaver, but I guess it's not. Now you can also go to the settings for 3-button navigation, and then you can enable this to switch around the back and recent apps buttons. Now the next thing I want to show you is how to take a screenshot with the Motorola Moto G Play 2026. Now there's actually 3 different ways I want to show you how to take a screenshot here with the device. So the first way to take a screenshot is to actually go to your recent apps button, and then from there, you'll see a screenshot icon right there, and then it'll take a screenshot of whatever app you have pulled up here in your recent apps. So that's definitely very intuitive, makes a lot of sense. Now the next way to take a screenshot is called 3-finger screenshot. So simply take 3 fingers, put them on the display, and then immediately the phone will take a screenshot. And then finally, the last way to take a screenshot is to hold down the volume down and power button for about a second here, and then the phone will take a screenshot. But that's how to take a screenshot with the Motorola Moto G Play 2026. Now I'm sure if you have this device, you've probably spent a little bit of time at this point kind of digging around in the settings, but there's one area in the settings especially that has a lot of different options. So if you're here in the main settings page, simply go down to where it says gestures, and there's a lot of different hidden features here. So the first one is called one-handed mode. So this device is actually very large with a 6.78-inch display, and certainly if you're holding the phone with just one hand, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to reach all portions of the operating system. Now if you go to one-handed mode, you'll see it's not enabled by default, and actually to get the most out of this, you should switch over to gesture-based navigation. So I'm going to do that right now, and then now we'll go back. I'll go to one-handed mode, we'll enable that, and then now you can see that if I swipe down, it'll pull the screen into reach. So we'll try this right now, and you can see it pulled down the entire screen. And same thing here on the home screen, it pulls down the entire operating system, and then from there I can reach everything up at the top of the display. And then if I want to get out of this, I simply tap outside of it. And if I wanted to pull up notifications instead, I also have that option. So you can see it quickly pulls down the notification shade. I can pull down one more time too, and it further pulls it down. Now another option is to have the one-handed mode shortcut. So if you enable that, you can actually move this around. But I've now switched the phone into 3-button navigation, and when you're in that mode, you'll see the button is there on the side, and if you tap on that button, it'll then switch the phone into one-handed mode. So that's another way to use one-handed mode if you do want the 3-button navigation on the device. Now holding down the power button pulls up Gemini, but I know some people would prefer to have the power off and restart menu instead. So what you can actually do is go here, and then you can choose power menu, and then now holding down the power button now gives you options to power off the phone and restart it. I know a lot of people don't like this hidden power button that's here in the quick toggle shade, which you can go there and do the same thing, but they prefer instead just to do it the regular way and hold down that button and then have these options. So there's this option called Quick Launch. So if we go there and then go to the settings, you can choose different functionalities. You can even open up an app, and then if you tap on the back of the phone, it'll then activate that functionality. So I'm going to go to Open App, and then I'm going to pick the app. So you can see we have a list of all our various apps. I'm going to choose the calculator, and then now if I tap on the back of the phone, it pulls up the calculator. So that's definitely very responsive and accurate. We also have quick capture. So if you twist your wrist, it pulls up the camera. So that's really cool and intuitive. There's also fast flashlight. So if you chop the phone, it turns on the flashlight, and then that chopping motion will also turn it off. There's also lift to unlock, pick up to silence. So if your phone's ringing and you pick it up, it'll then silence the phone. And then there's flip for DND. So if you put the phone face flat, it'll put it into do not disturb. So definitely a lot of good stuff in this section of the settings. Now, if we go over to display, there's something very important over here. So go there. And then if you go down to display refresh rate, there's some different options. So there is efficiency first. So if you do that, it'll put the phone into 60 Hertz. So you can see things are very choppy, kind of similar to what we had here in the battery saver mode, but 60 Hertz is that lower refresh rate. So this is how it used to be with pretty much every phone, but we actually have a 120 Hertz refresh rate here with the device. You can pick Smart and Balanced, which will actually give you a little bit more battery life, but then give you some of the benefits of 120 Hertz, or you can pick Hyper Smooth, and it'll give you the smoothest experience when using the phone. And honestly, I love this fast refresh rate. It makes this phone feel a lot nicer and higher end than it technically is. And the last thing I want to show you is how to customize the lock screen. So when you're on the lock screen, just hold down and then go to Customize, and then you'll need to use your fingerprint sensor there. And then from here, there's a bunch of different ways you can customize the lock screen. So the first thing is, you can see there's two different options down here, and you can actually pick quick toggles. So we have various shortcuts you can add here, such as the flashlight or the camera, but you can even go down to any app on the device and have a quick toggle to that app. Maybe you use Instagram all the time, then you can put Instagram there. It's really nice that we're getting those shortcuts. You can also go here and you can pick the notification style. If you want a list, you can do that. There's also this option called chip or bubble. And then if you tap on the clock, we're getting two other clock faces. So we're getting a little bit more information, or at least a different format of that information. So definitely some different options here that you might want to try out with the device. But this concludes my video on tips, tricks, and hidden features for the Motorola Moto G Play 2026. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. But this is Kevin here, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and have a great rest of your day.